Test. What now? How about now? Success? Any success? Any audio, Benson? Thanks. Hey there, buddy. Hello. That's clear and doesn't skip. But we want to skip. Enjoyed. What now? Ah. Hello. Any luck? How about now? I don't know. Got any sound? Stock does. Let's see. It's impossible. Let's just do a little bit of a brief. Yep, that change cut out. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's give it two thumbs up. Anybody get a thumbs up? Good morning. Good morning. This is your warning that the Magic the Gathering stock show is live and we're ready to thrive. Here in the world of Magic the Gathering, if you've seen the latest unbannings in the world of the Commander Rules Committee, you might just be underwhelmed by what has transpired. We're going to discuss the prices of Magic cards here today on the show because we like to know what's going to go on in the world of Magic the Gathering. And if you like stocks, talks, the Pope, and rope, we've got you tied like a knot. So you better not forget to tune in here in the morning, grab yourself a cup of coffee, and join in for the fun of Brody bashing his head against the wall because he cannot live stream. Amateur hour here on the morning show. Great to have you with us. The cup of coffee is almost empty. I spent all my time troubleshooting, but who cares? Let's go. Let's take a look at some AI generated magic cards. We like to warm up a little bit here this morning before we get going. I like to head on over. So the other screen, no audio. Other screen, no audio. Ah, hold on a second. So sound on this screen, and then when we change screens, we got no sound. Fun. Fun. This one should work. Does this one work? Tell me now. Tell me. Have we got audio now? I'll do the Hulk Hogan. Any luck? Hello now. Okay, so audio on this screen. Skid. Hello now. Do we have audio? Millmaster, I'm relying on you exclusively, and Benson, to help me out here. I heard you on this one now. So both screens are good? I want to talk about these workshop rats. Nobody cares about the rats. All right, both are good. Okay, so now sound effect check. Sound effect check. Ah, deck check. Sound effect check. Do we hear any sound effects? Do we have a dinger? Did you hear the ding? You hear the sound of the ding? Is the ding a wonderful thing? Did it ding? Audio capture device. No ding. Okay. No ding. Let's go back here. Acapella dings. No ding. Acapella ding ding ding. I'm gonna have to do acapella dings, right? Captured desktop audio. How about desktop audio? Desktop audio. Audio cam. Go now. Any dinging? And is there an echo? There may be an echo. How about now? Any? It's ding, but it's echoing now. Can't seem to win. Okay. All right. Can't seem to win. Might have to play with that. Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to do acapella dings. Okay. How about now? All right. Place and time. When place and time enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player votes for within or most mana is reduced by the sleuth of your pants. Votes for within or is reduced by the exile card. What is this? When place of time enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player votes for within or most mana cost is reduced by the exile cards into your hand. You may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value less than or equal to the place of time's power from among them. I can't get behind this. This is trash. Too much gibberish on the card. All right, we got some dinging. We got a few little bugs to work out. I did a reinstall of the whole Streamlabs desktop, so that might have something to do with it. Let's take a look at Some of the Commander banned and restricted updates. I want to bring up this article for the banned and restricted updates. So we got this announcement on April 22nd. I've also got to get over to the Goldfish site and take a look at the movers and shakers there. And then we got to go over to the stock desk because that's where we're going to find the weekly winners. And we're waiting for that article to drop. I've got a kind of a notion what we're going to see on the weekly winners. But nevertheless, let's take a look at some of the announcements, banned and restricted updates. I'm kind of getting a little bit fed up with this rules committee. It's a little bit weak, if you ask me. And if you read the article, it's like let's go down a little bit because I've already pre-read this. I'm sure you folks have seen it once already, but let's go down to some of the ban cards and just look at the way this is written. We're leaving this on the ban list. Fast Bond, no. Crucible, no. It's staying banned. Grizzlebrand. Grizzle banned. Okay, Grizzle banned. We got the Hull Breacher. I wouldn't expect, and certainly not with the brackets as they are. Iona Shield. Okay. Where are we here? Lutri the Spell Chaser. Night of the Winged Wisdom. Paradox Engine. Prime Time. So this is the part that kind of gets me. Like Rofalos, okay, surprised that green card didn't make the cut. Tolarian Academy, still staying banned. Upheaval, Yawgmoth, Goonie Goo Goo. There was a little bit of a write-up on some of the Court of Calling. So the Court of Calling, why didn't we see that here? I saw that, April 22nd. I did see a picture of Court of Calling here, as well as Green Sun Zenith. Has that been disappeared? Did they remove it? There was a little bit of a write-up on Green Sun Zenith and Court of Calling. Because, like, the green tutors are okay. So, like, green gets all the tutors, but nobody else gets tutors. Trade Secrets, Upheaval, Yawgmoth, Bargain. Maybe I'm seeing things. Board Sweepers. Very strange. All right, gifts ungiven, unbanned. If you look at, let's take a look at the price chart on this one. This one's gifts. It should be on the top of the list somewhere. The all list. Plateau, Demonic Horde, Sol Ring, Mistra's Workshop. Mistra's Workshop also looks like it got the Game Changer. It did. It get the Game Changer status. So kind of sad on that one. Where's the Game Changer status? New GCs, baby. So they updated the Game Changer status to include Mishra's Workshop. Where's the Game Changers? Brackets, beta update. Maybe it's this one. Commander Brackets beta update. No. Game Changers. You can check out today's update on those, including several Game Changers in the article. Where's the Game Changers, Brody? Game Changers. We added a bunch to the Game Changers. So if we want to get rid of some crap, where's the Game Changers list? I thought this article had a Game Changers list. It's not. Announcement. This looks like they changed the article. Banned and restricted. September 23rd, 2024. Update. Commander ban list. Jeez Louise. All right. Maybe Brody's got to go to his own His own Mahone. Delete. Delete. Here's one for you. If we got a commander cycle like that included free spells, but the restriction was that your commander has to have a mana value 6 or more. I think we get more cards that specifically buff up high-end commanders. So apparently the deflecting SWAT has been added to the game changers list. And to me, it looks like the article has changed because here, this is the list of the article. Gifts and given. Where's D SWAT? Deflecting SWAT was on here. Ban list review, balance, biorhythm, Emrakul, Ayara, Fastbond, Flash, Golos, Drizzy Bee, Hull Breacher, Leovold, Nadu, Paradox Engine. Where was the update to the game changers? It was here. Maybe they removed it. You can find it on X. I realized that, but I thought there was an updated list was included in this article because I saw a couple of Commander Game Changers list. Brackets update. Is it in the brackets update? Maybe it's this one. Okay, the intent of play. Okay, Trouble in Pairs. Here's the part that I was looking for. Trouble in Pairs was taken off the Game Changers list. Trinidad, Trinisphere. Okay, so the additions of the Game Changers list. All right. This is the part that I found very interesting. Teferis of Protection. Here's a spell that costs you 3 mana. Permanents you control phase out. So the rationale behind this is that it makes you free to make big plays without any risk of being attacked or uncertainty. Humility. This was added to the Game Changers list. I found this kind of funny because it's 4 mana. So like you're not casting this like turn 1 or turn 2. It's going to be like an expensive cast. If you're casting this for like 4 mana, chances are like it's late enough in the game that like a 4 mana enchantment is like you don't worry about it. It's fine. Just let it ring. The phone's ringing. 4 mana enchantment. So humility. If you're getting to 4 mana just to play this enchantment, chances are you've like worked to get it out. It's double white as well. It makes games massively frustrating to play. Well, deal with it. I think this is silly to have on the Game Changers list. It does slow the game down, I suppose, but um, it can also make opponents' creatures susceptible to anything that gives a -1/-1. So this is like a combo card that can be like a synergistic or non. What's the word? Asymmetrical board wipe. Humility, should this be added to the Game Changers list? I think it's fine. Narset and Bowmasters. I could see the Narset being added to Game Changers just because it nerfs the card draw. There's a lot of extra card draw in Commander. So when we have cards like Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora, and those cards get plenty of complaints, a card like Narset is one that shuts those down. So like, why are we getting rid of things that punish card draw when people want to complain about Mystic Remora and Rhystic Study? Now we're going to make cards like Narset a game changer card. Notion Thief steals the draw. Pretty decent card. Bowmasters, Intuition. All right. Bowmaster turns up heavy in the meta. from time to time. It kind of rotates in and rotates out when people figure out it's in the meta. Like, this is pretty powerful with wheels. And in fact, I think the Bowmaster would be fine. It's a 2 mana flash card. So, like, I think Bowmaster is fine. It just, it actually punishes people for being greedy on the draws. Consecrated Sphinx, this one I could see being a game changer. It's really good. It's like hyper card draw. Drawing 2 for every 1 card that an opponent draws. I could see this one makes sense to have it on the game changers list. Necropotence, no problem there. But the deflecting swat, the free spells. So like the free interaction. You need interaction in Commander. There's no two ways about it. If you don't have interaction, there's no way you're going to be able to stop opponents from winning. So the free spells like Force of Will and Force of Negation and all the forces tend to be a staple when you're trying to hold up interaction. So this being added to the game changers list, I mean, it doesn't really affect myself in the pod just because we play like CEDH, so everything's on the table. But the removing the free interaction, it seems like a disservice. I would like to point attention to the hot take that somebody had here regarding deflecting swat. What if we got another cycle like, but instead of the restriction, if your commander, and I could get behind this, if your commander has a mana value 6 or more, then that might turn on like another version of some free spells. I could get behind that caveat. Right now, I think it's because of the Rog Rack. It's 0 mana, so this turns on the deflecting swat like with no effort. It's in the right colors, but I think I could get behind a free spell that has the condition if your commander has a certain CMC or higher, like a 6 mana commander. So if you're paying 6 mana to get your commander out, then you have like the free interaction. Nevertheless, you need to hold up interaction. So getting rid of the deflecting swat, kind of a disservice to any format that you're playing in. Now you're going to have to hold up mana. It's going to be a lot more difficult. Here's one for you. The Gamble, the Crop Rot, and the Worldly Tutor. I don't understand why the Worldly Tutor wasn't a game changer to begin with. Maybe because it's green, and I feel a real bias towards green. It's generally favored upon when you hear a lot of complaints about Primeval Titan, and you hear a lot of discussion about Fastbond wanting to be unbanned. The Worldly Tutor makes sense to have it on the game changers list from the get-go. Because the new commander group is stupid. Yes, Crop Rot, also another tutor. So anything that's instant speed, search your library, gets the old game changers. So Gamble makes sense. Gamble's just a straight up tutor. It's got a pretty powerful downside. If you have a big mitt, it's not so bad. Your gambling chances get higher. Crop Rot, Worldly Tutor. I don't know why Worldly Tutor wasn't on the original list. Crop Rot, I guess it makes sense. But as a lands player, I'm sad to see Crop Rot on the list. But I don't care because I'm playing CEDH anyway. This is the part where it gets kind of interesting. So I'm just going to go down. Natural Order. Search your library for a creature card, put it on the battlefield and shuffle. Definitely another tutor. Food Chain, I can see this. This is a combo piece in Omnath with Mist Hollow Griffin and Squee the Immortal. So this allows infinite combos. So this is definitely a CEDH piece. I've got it in the Omnath deck. It can win you the game. This gives you a win condition for 3 mana. I could see this being on the Game Changers list simply because it has a very strong combo potential. Now, Aura Shards, this is the enchantment that blinks. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you get to blow something up. So I suppose that could be on the game changers list. This would make no sense at all. Field of the Dead. So this is on the game changers list now. Silly. The condition to make, like, it's just like Coalition Victory. So Coalition Victory was unbanned because you have to have like 8 mana to play it, a creature of every color and a land of every basic type. So if you're putting in all the effort to get creature of every color and a land of every basic land type, like that's not going to happen early in the game. It's not going to happen turn 1 or turn 2. It's a condition it's not easily met. So I can understand why Coalition Victory was unbanned. But when you look at Field of the Dead, this makes no sense to me. Unless I'm missing something here, because the condition to satisfy Field of the Dead requires you to have 7 lands with different names. So 2 Triomes and Sphinx of the Guild Pack. I get that, but like that's not like a turn 1 condition. 2 Triomes, Sphinx of the Guild Pack. What's the Sphinx of the Guild Pack's mana cost? Sphinx of the G. Sphinx of the G, 7 mana. I mean, come on, if you get to 7 mana, and then you still have to cast Coalition Victory for 8. So, like, even if you ramp, you need 8 mana. It's like a train on the track. If you can't see it coming, 8 mana down the road with a setup of a 7 cost, and like you're assuming that they don't have interaction and they're going to protect this, right? 7, but it's pushed build, you can cheat it out. You can tinker for the sphincter. Tinker for the sphincter. But then you still need 8 mana to cast the Coalition Victory. So like you've got a 7 drop and an 8 drop that combos. It's not it's not an easily achievable. Like, yes, it is straightforward. I get it. Yeah, you have 2 Triomes, the Sphinx, and then you cast Coalition Victory. But we're talking like you're putting 15 mana to hard cast it. Sure, you can cheat the Sphinx into play. I don't know how you're making a Woobird and 3 to cast the Coalition Victory that early in the game. So to me, it makes sense. Like, it shouldn't be a game changer because the condition to satisfy it is not, it's not easily. Just like how about Field of the Dead? If you control 7 or more lands with different names, you get a zombie. You get a zombie if you have 7 or more lands with different names. So you have to either double up land drops, like on your turn. Like if you're playing a Souza, Lost but Seeking, then you might get like an extra double land drop. So on your turn 3, you're getting a 4th land. And then your turn 4, you're getting a 5th and a 6th. So it's like your turn 5 to try and get zombies, even if you're ramping lands out, like 7 lands, that's a pretty steep condition. So like in competitive Commander, like when things are going around the table, like how many turns are you going to get? Like usually a typical Commander game is what, 60 to 70 minutes, maybe 80 depending on the tournament. So like by the time you get 7 lands on the battlefield, like let's just say you cheat a couple into play, that's 5 turn rotations. That's 20 turns to see this coming. And then you have to have 7 lands just to get a zombie. So I guess you can scape shift it into play. Sure, you can use scape shift, but then again, that's like 4 mana. So Scape Shift turns this on for 4, but then of course you still need to sack land. So I mean I think this is kind of silly because like at what point do we draw the line? The strictness to make this win condition get or even make it a threat to have 7 lands isn't going to come around in the first 2 or 3 turns. So you can see this coming, you can prepare for it, you can set it up. Workshop. Sad to see this on the list. Workshop on the Game Changers list. This was a nice 3 mana, 1 land. If we're banning fast lands, this is the conversation that I think is hilarious. We're banning fast mana sources. We're getting Game Changers. We're banning Mana Crypt. We're banning Jeweled Lotus. We're restricting the mana rocks, except for Sol Ring. Sol Ring is arguably, and this has been an age-old argument since the beginning of Magic. What's more powerful, the Sol Ring or the Black Lotus? And a lot of people make the argument that in the longer the game goes, a turn 1 Sol Ring makes you so much mana that it's better than the Black Lotus. Now, we like our free candies. This is almost as good as like turn 1 Trinisphere. You can get your 3 mana off in 1 turn. So I get it. But like if we're banning mana rocks, like it just shows what side the bread is buttered on. We won't get rid of Sol Ring, but we're going to get rid of Mishra's Workshop. The Sol Ring is reprint equity, so basically an auto include in all the pre-constructed Commander decks. I can't see them ever banning it, but it does seem a little disingenuous and a bit of a double standard. If we can't have Mana Crypt, when we can't have Jeweled Lotus, and like Jeweled Lotus has a downside, right? We can't have the Mishra's Workshop, so nothing that has no downside, but Sol Ring is fine. Kind of strange. I don't agree with it, but let's hit a few more cards with the ban and the Game Changer. Lesson to be learned: Here's a lesson to be learned. If you don't want a card to be added to the game changers list, don't talk about it online, right? Because that's what's going to happen. The more complaints we get, the more game changers are going to be added. All right. Farewell. 6 mana board wipe that includes a double white casting cost. Not the easiest card to cast, but this has also been added to the game changers. 6 mana game changers. I can't stress this enough. If you're getting to 6 mana, 6 mana is the magic number. Why is Carnage Tyrant bad? Carnage Tyrant is bad because it costs 6 mana, it does nothing. So for 6 mana, that's kind of the magic number. And my buddy Alex told me about this once. He said if you're paying 6 mana for something, it should do something the turn it comes into play. In fact, it should set you up to a reasonable point where you can possibly win the game on it if it's unprotected. So a 6 mana spell is kind of the tipping point, in my personal opinion, as to like where a card should be good. At 6 mana, it should do something that like puts you ahead or puts you in a position where it can win the game. At 6 mana, not easily achievable. Double white, the hardest combination of pips to assemble in the game of Magic the Gathering. So a 6 mana farewell, let's say farewell to farewell. Alms Collector, an opponent would draw 2 or more cards. Instead, you and that opponent each draw a card. So the pittance and the where's the is the Mystic Study and the Mystic Remora on the Game Changers list? Game Changers. Here are 18 cards we're adding. Where's the full list? Full list Game Changers. So Draneth blue. So Psychriff, Consphinx, Appropriate, Force of Will, Fierce G, Gifts Ungiven, Intuition, Jin-Gitaxis, Mystical Tutor, Narset, Ristic, Sway the Stars, Thoracle, and Urza Lord High. So the Mystic Remora, not on the Game Changers list. All right. Mystic Remora is fine, but a card that like and it gets a ton of complaints. So you need answers for it. I play it. I don't complain about it. But a card like our Alms Collector, that's gonna like help achieve some parity when somebody else is playing Mystic Remora. This is so the tech that counters the most complained about card in the format is now added to a Game Changers list. So you can't even include that tech in the lower brackets. Not a problem if you're playing competitive EDH, but who cares? Splinter's Workshop. Tap to add 3 mana of any color. Use only to cast rat spells. I like it. Lake of the Dead should be a game changer. I'm playing the Devil's Advocate, by the way. Play away. Mana Drain, also added to the Game Changers list. So this one, decent 2 mana spell. It's a counter spell, but it's too good because, you know, when you counter your opponent's 6-drop, you get the 6 mana. It sounds like a bunch of people. Okay, Mystic Remora. We talked about this card in Good Deal. Ultimately, the feeling was that this is the strongest at the tables of high power Magic and weaker at the lower brackets as it stood. This is a card that's still on our radar, but we did not add it this time. Force of Will. Again, free interaction. So we don't want free spells or free interaction in Casual Commander. And then the Wheel of Fortune and the Time Twister. All right. The Notion Thief sort of is an answer to this. The Bowmaster also works well with the wheels. The Bowmaster got added as some tech against the wheel cards, but now you can't use it. And the Grave Pact and the Dictate. I thought this was funny. So Braid's Arisen Nightmare is unbanned, and then whenever a creature you control dies, his opponent sacrifices a creature. Similar to the Braid's the Braid's Cabal Minion card. You know, when something every turn something dies. When you combine this, it just sort of it sort of gets a little overpowerful. The Necrodominance, I can see that. It's just similar to the Necropotence, is not quite as good. But this is where things get interesting. Natural order is a problem. A long game Craterhoof is something we believe is still acceptable. So Craterhoof, so this is where I get off. The bias towards green. So the 6 mana spell, the 4 mana spell, the land that requires 7 lands on the battlefield, but Craterhoof Behemoth is fine, right? I've been Craterhoofed many a times in my life. It's a game-finishing card, and they claim that this is a suitable way to end the game. So Crater Hoof at 8 mana. What is it about Crater Hoof that makes it fine and not a problem that means it doesn't go on the battlefield or doesn't go on the game changers list? This is a card that you can cheat into play, but if you're hard casting it for 8, in green, it's going to be the easiest color to ramp into a big Crater Hoof. If you got lots of dorks and lots of elves and 1/1s, this thing is going to definitely be easier to cast turn 5 or turn 6 with some ramp. But Crater Hoof is okay. All right, it's a Timmy card. Again, a little bit of a bias towards green, so we won't add the Crater Hoof because people love it. This is where things get interesting. The Great Henge, I don't see why this would be on the Game Changers list. It's 9 mana. You have to pay severely into it and get creatures on the board to make it even cost less. So this card doesn't even seem like it should be even considered for a game changer, yet they're considering it. And here is where things get a little bit pro-green. So we can see the pro-green bias coming through. Here's 3 tutors. You got the Green Sun Zenith, the Court of Calling, and the Finale of Devastation, which are all search your library for a creature card, and then you get to put it right onto the battlefield. So green has 3 sorcery speed basic, 2 sorcery speed tutors and an instant speed tutor that allow you to put a creature straight onto the battlefield. They banned Worldly Tutor, but these are still fine. So green gets 3 tutors, 3 additional tutors that are not game changers. So between this and the Crater Hoof Behemoth, I just see a little. I sense there's a lot of green players on this rules committee. Tooth and Nail. This card is backbreaking if you can resolve the Entwine ability. So this one says it's an appropriate way for games to end. Another green card. Yeah, no, we looked at all the green stuff and it's all fine. Good morning, Superfast. Hey, D-Rock. How you doing, buddy? And then Defense of the Heart. Also another search card, basically a tutor. If you're playing in a multiplayer game, 4 players, 3 or more creatures, pretty easy to achieve this condition. So this is fine. If opponent has 3 or more creatures, you get Defense of the Heart, you get to get anything, including the Crater Hoof Behemoth, put that on the battlefield. You see where I'm going with this? The bias towards green is uncanny. So Crater Hoof is fine. Defense of the Heart, also fine. So this is a way to get your Crater Hoof Behemoth into play. No problem. That's fine. It's also a search card, so there's that going for it. So, but like it doesn't count as a tutor. So green also gets Defense of the Heart. And Sol Ring. They're never going to ban this. Let's face it. Too many variants, too many special edition printings, too many promos, too many commander decks auto-include this as a one-of in all the pre-constructed decks simply for reprint equity. And I couldn't stress this enough. This is why it's kind of a bit of a bullspit rules committee, because like there's a very good argument for Sol Ring to be a game changer. Very good. But the simple fact is like, well, that's going to cost us money. We're not going to sell as many commander decks. It's going to water down the pre-constructed decks and we can't put one in them. We can also there's not as much sentiment to get the promo Sol Rings from events. So I like regardless of what the rules committee feels on this one, the simple fact that this is an auto-clued in all pre-constructed decks and it's reprint equity, the money is going to outbalance the greater good, if you will. This will never get added to the game changers, is my opinion, even though it's arguably better than a lot of the mana rocks that are out there. So simply by reprint equity, there's no chance this gets added. All right. Here's the final list of the game changers. We got Draneth's Magistrate. Opponents can't cast spells from anywhere with their hands, so no commanders on the table. Okay, I can see why this would be a game changer. It's hard to play against. Again, I'm a little bit biased because I don't play casual. We just play CEDH because we want the games to go quickly. Turn 3 or turn 4 win is fine. It is a testament to having interaction. You need to hold up interaction in our play group with free spells like Force of Will and the Deflecting Swat. So this card is one that comes down in many games and it's frustrating. But again, you need interaction. You need a Source of Plowshares. You need a removal spell of some kind. You need a Sudden Edict or something that's going to force your opponent get rid of it. And then Latent Tutor, of course, the White Tutor, Instant Speed Tutor. I think all the Instant Speed Tutors are now game changers, with the exception of the Court of Calling that green gets. Green gets the Court of Calling, the Green Sun Zenith, and a couple of Sorcery Speed Tutors, including the enchantment Defense of the Heart, which is fine. So tutors in green, fine. Let's just say uh, green is not a game changer. Humility, this one makes no sense to me. It's 4 mana, double whites. We talked about this a little earlier. Sarah Sanctum, I can see this. The fast mana. The fast mana, the Tolarian Academy, the Sarah Sanctum. But if this is going to be a game changer, then Gaia's Cradle should also be on there. Where's the Gaia's Cradle? Is Gaia's Cradle on here? Where is the Gaia's Cradle? Okay, fine. It's fair. The green land does get it. Boris Citadel, Urza Lord Hyde, Thassa's Oracle, Sway the Stars, Rhystic Study, Narset. Again, the Narset is something that offsets the Rhystic or the Mystic Remora. So I can see either having both on there or none on there. We've got the Tigre, the God of Fight, which is a heck of a good commander. Vamp Tutor, Adnaz, Deflecting SWAT, D-SWAT, Crop Rot, Food Chain, Cradle. Natural Order, Survival of the Fittest, Vorinclex, Order Shards, Whirly Tutor, Field of the Dead, Grim Monolith, Mistress Workshop making the new addition. And this is one that people like. Here's one for you. This one just got added. Panoptic Mirror. Okay, again, it's a 5 mana artifact. So off the Workshop and a Sol Ring, you can cast this as early as turn 2. So 5 mana, you get this artifact. You can cheat it into play. It's colorless, so I could see it's still 5 mana though. It's not like a freebie. As a guy who's playing the Throne of Eldraine, which is a 5 mana artifact, it's not always achievable early, like turn 3 or turn 4. And arguably, if you've got the Panoptic Mirror or something that costs 5, like the Gilded Lotus or the Throne of Eldraine, a 5 colorless mana artifact, chances are you're sacrificing like an interaction play or another play just to get that out. It can be quite good, but 5 mana still a little steep. You imprint it for X and tap and remove an instant or sorcery card from your hand, where X is that card's mana cost, and then the beginning of upkeep, get a copy of the imprinted card. So a card like Time Warp or Time Stretch or any of the time extra turn spells, this can kind of create an infinite loop, so you can just keep taking the turns. Brody's not gotta let the Rosewater break him down. All right, the One Ring's on there. The One Ring not on there. The Soul Ring not on there. And the Tabernacle. This one I was kind of upset. I like playing this card. It's hard to interact with because it's a land. You don't cast it, and it creates a interesting asymmetrical board state. I'd like to turn creatures into lands and then make them cost mana. So, Commander Rules Committee going forward. Those are the game changers. Those are my thoughts and opinions. I'd like you to share your thoughts and opinions just so we can kind of see where this is heading. Again, a lot of people say that the latest banned and restricted rules committee update was a bit of a nothing burger. A lot of people were hoping that the Jeweled Lotus would get unbanned, and so the Mana Crypt as well. But it was a little bit underwhelming of an entire update to the banned and restricted list, or the game changers list, if you will. So a little bit underwhelming. Think people were hoping for a lot more. It's been a little bit of a stretch since, like, going from one very, very, very strong update on the rules list where we removed Dockside Extortionist, Mana Crypt, Jeweled Lotus, and like some very, very powerful played cards, to a very watered down banned and restricted announcement. I think that formats had enough time to sort of adjust on that, but nevertheless, what the heck do I know? A little bit watered down. A little bit watered down, unfortunately. All right, let's take a look at your movers and your shakers for today. Today is poo poo poo, poo poo poo. Let's take a look at your movers and the shakers for today. What do we got? We're going to have a little bit of an echo here, but that's okay. All right, this is what I want. This is what I'm talking about. Modern Monday, Tuesday, Pioneer, Thursday, Legacy. Friday is the all list. We're going to look at the. This is why I wanted to do a live stream today of all days. Friday is my favorite day because we get to kind of look at the entire state of the market in Magic the Gathering. The good old fashioned all list. There's a couple of cards on here that I saw earlier in the week, and I was hoping that we would see for the weekly winners. We'll have to check the stock desk to see. And one of those is the Candelabra. So we'll see if the Candelabra makes the cut. It was up 12%. That's one of my favorite cards. Highly speculating on that card. Dual Lands, the Plateau, up 33%. So this is the unlimited version. It's got a unique and interesting art. Brody, love to see your face. Thank you. Thank you very much. Twiddler, nice to have you with us. These are the cards that are moving and shaking this week. We got the Plateau, the Demonic Hordes, Soul Ring, Mishra's Workshop. Despite being game changified, it still found its way on the movers and the shakers list this week. Let's take a look at one of the unbannings, Gifts Ungiven. Here's an interesting thought for you. Let me just take a look. Somebody is actually getting taken to court over this. Here's one for you. The insider trading. So there's a little bit of a problem with the insider trading when it comes to Magic the Gathering. Okay, so let's take a look. Here's a fella, and I don't know why or how or this all works, but here's somebody who just received a notice. And like this is somebody who posts recent card purchases on Magic the Gathering on X. So this person like flashed I don't know, 50 copies of the Gifts Ungiven and made a comment of something to the effect that like, thank you, Gifts Ungiven. Some people received the update. We'll look at the post here, but here is the United States District Court for the Western District of Washington, the collectible card game market manipulation litigation. So this is another problem. Now, the Commander Rules Committee is going to have early access to the new Game Changers banned and restricted announcements, unbanning. So if a card becomes unbanned, it becomes instantly more valuable. But here's a lawsuit that was filed, collective lawsuit of the Competitive Commander Collective from Washington, a non-for-profit organization on behalf of itself, against this defendant. A class action lawsuit has been filed above for a court by the Competitive Commander Collection and a named individual on behalf of them and the similarly situated individual. The plaintiff's claims are stated that the class action is compliant and a copy which is served to you. You are hereby summoned and required to serve upon the attorney. So this is like somebody getting early access to the banned and restricted list and the unbannings prior to. Here we go. Yeah, thank you, Gifts Ungivens. So here's always let this be a lesson. The public will never get the real leaks. So here's I think this is the reason. So they're trying to like, give people some flack, hey? Brody's too handsome for this world. He needs to be displayed in a museum for the handsome people. Aw, oh, that's pretty cute. I'm having a good beard day. So this is like this could be insider trading. So how does somebody know that this card is going to be unbanned in CEDH? Gifts Ungiven, there's plenty of copies of it. Let's take a look. This card, I'm surprised it doesn't show up on the movers and the shakers list this week. It's up a boatload. If you look at the chart on this one, it's up quite a bit. Just the popular Double Masters version, this one's went from $1 all the way to $20. So insider trading, watch it. This one here, Modern Masters, the foil. Ooh la la! I think I found one. I went through my stuff and I found one copy. This one here did an incredible price spike. So if you're buying a card for like $4 or $5 and then it spikes to $50 or $61, as it's showing here on this chart here. I was lucky enough to open the Double Masters borderless foil. That one's $35. And again, this card not showing up on the movers and the shakers list, unsurprisingly so. For the all list, Yeah, where is it? It never showed up. I would expected this card to show up on the movers and the shakers list. Plateau, Demonic Horde, Sol Ring, Mishra's Workshop, Taiga, Aggravated Assault, Fungasaur, Mana Flare, Armageddon, and Natural Selection. Natural Selection, a decent card. This one's like the Green Brainstorm. Again, Green gets another great card. Look at the top three cards of your target player's library, and you may opt to rearrange those or shuffle. So here's the good old fashioned natural selection. Surprising, surprising, surprising. We don't see the gifts ungiven the on the. We don't see the gifts ungiven on the movers and the shakers this week. Little example of market manipulation. Let's talk about the candelabra for a second. This is a card I traded just a couple of copies over to TOA MTG because it's going to get some pretty good store credit. This card's been moving. I don't know why this isn't on the movers and the shakers list this week. I would like to see it on the weekly winners, perhaps. At least the gifts, and maybe it'll be next week's. At least the gifts ungiven should be on the weekly winners. The candelabra, I don't see why it won't be. It's over $1,200, sold out in stores. This card could not get any higher. Well, it could keep going higher, but let's look at the chart on this. This is a complex chart. It's not a very good one. If we look here, we've got like a huge price spike, and I tried to figure out why that was. It's because there was an eBay listing of a misprint that included Circle of Protection Blue, I believe, that had a dual printing of the candelabra on one side. So, like an anomaly, a single copy of candelabra was listed for a misprint, listed for $45,000. The problem, what happens here, is like it skews this chart. So they really should correct this. It would be nice if they fix this to cut out the variance and the market manipulation because it makes it really difficult, nigh impossible, to evaluate this chart. Because if we pull it back, like prior to this, we used to get like a nice graph like this one. So if we eliminate that, we can actually kind of see the price trends moving and grooving as they would go along. So a nice swoop and then a little bit of a flagpole up and then like a little bit of a retrace after that. But now since we get this price spike, then boom, then the whole chart just gets skewed. TCG dude, nice to have you with us. So we're talking about the candelabra. This one's up $1,200. Why is this card making such headlines? Well, because Rograx Thrasios. I want to take your attention. Here's a card, and like I hate to say I told you so, but I've been heavily speculating on this card because it's a couple of reasons. Number one, the card is listed as a rare here, right? It says it's a rare. By all intents and purposes, people say this is a rare, but it was actually listed as an uncommon in the antiquity set. So the antiquity set, very, very interesting. I want to head over. Speaking of antiquity, watch Heritage Auctions because we're speaking of antiquities and especially antiquities and Arabian Nights. If we look at the auctions that just happened, Magic the Gathering Antiquities Raw Group. Ooh. All right. Recent auctions. Let's see here. I'm going to look at the recent auctions. Yesterday at Heritage Auctions, a full set of graded antiquities cards sold for the opening bid, an uncontested opening bid. And then also a full set of Arabian Nights, uncontested on the opening bid. So that's, I'm just going to look at past auctions because it's quite breathtaking. If you had pulled the trigger, you might have been able to stole it for a very, very good price. Review past sales. Most recent sales. All right, here we go. Arabian Nights complete 92 card set with graded with CCG. This sold yesterday The opening bid was 6,500 US, and it didn't get any other bids. It was one of the very first. It was the first item on the block yesterday. I was watching. I thought, 6,500. Like I don't have that kind of change right now. And then I thought this thing was going to go higher. It's a full set, all 92 cards. Now, if you think that's a decent deal, wait till you see the next one. So every single card, a graded copy, 6,500 for the full set of Arabian Nights. I think that's probably not a bad deal. But this one here was 3,500 bucks. This was the opening and uncontested bid for the entire antiquity set for 3,500 bucks. I think the workshop itself is worth 2 to 3. If it's a graded copy, then yes, it's definitely going to fetch the bucks. But this is a Magic the Gathering complete set of 100 cards with CCG grading. Unbelievable. Worth watching the Heritage auction site. And if you can't do that, follow me over on X so you can get the notifications to see when this stuff goes on sale. Again, a copy of the Candelabra. So the entire set sold for $3,500. The Candelabra is $1,200 of that. Somebody could like an old automobile. You can park this out, take the transmission, the wheels, the tires, the exhaust, and sell it all in separate pieces, maybe even the steering wheel, and you can make double your money back. The pick apart of Magic the Gathering. It's possible that that is definitely a way to kind of hedge yourself and get a little bit of your money back. All right, news articles for the day. There's got to be one more that I really want to see. The good old-fashioned weekly winners, April 17th. No, sir. I was hoping the weekly winners would be out. What's the time in the Netherlands? I got to talk. Arjen, when does the article come up? It's probably going to come up in an hour. Time in the Netherlands. Let's see. Time in the Netherlands, 5:17 p.m. So it's probably going to come out here in at the end of the hour. Sadly enough, this is the article that I really wanted to see for you guys here because I want to see the weekly winners. All right. Well, these are your these are your movers and your shakers for today. Legacy, modern, standard. They don't have a vintage or a EDH category, so that's interesting. Going to be very stoked to see your weekly winners here coming up very soon. Mishra's Workshop again. So that graded copy in the entire antiquity set. This would have been half the price of the set. Again, it goes to show the state of the economy where people are needing funds. All right, let's see if we can find another article for you folks here this morning from one of my favorites. What do we got? Fully colorless MTG deck cleans house in modern. Let's take a look at that. Seems kind of interesting. I want to make a colorless commander deck. I do, and I want to use Karn. No, not Karn. I want to use Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter, as my commander. Color picks are weak. We got the Mox Obel's Sojourner's Companion and the Mystic Forge. A modern deck, including Omnithopter, Frogmere Enforcer, and the Mirror Enforcer. Memnite. All right. So, almost like an Infinity deck, a colorless deck. Beloved MTG Mini Rhino crushes large format, and new cute lizard removal that fixes. Multiple unbanned cards, a spike. All right, unbanned cards spiking 2,471%. This is the gifts ungiven. Nevertheless, it's an occasion when you get cards that are unbanned in Commander. This is what happened just this last week in under 4 years when the World Fire got the green light. Fast forward back to today, and there's no denying that Magic players are excited by this latest unban. Even if most of the cards aren't completely relevant, they're still have been an immense rush of demand to acquire copies. As usual, this has caused a surge in unbanned cards to spike in price. Gifts Ungiven in particular is a staggering up 2,471%. The start off with the big ticket items in the signature spellbook version, the variant of Gifts Ungivens has spiked over 2,471% in just a couple of days. Prior to its recent unbanning, this card routinely sold for around 60 cents. Why is this card so darn good? Well, let's look at the gifts. Ungiven. And I'm also going to go to MTG Top 8. So this is another good place to go when you're wondering why cards are spiking. Let's go to CEDH. We're going to do a little search here, and we're going to put in the Candelabra of Thanos, because that one is definitely... No, of Thanos. Take a look at this. So, talking first about card spiking, we've got a tournament that took place April 21st, the 20th, and these decks are making top 8 with the Candelabra. So that's why that card is spiking. Now it's finally getting some attention that it deserves, and it's Rog Thrasios is the most popular variant that plays it. Thras Rog, Rog Thras. You see that card, that deck is very, very popular and powerful. So the Gifts Ungiven, on the other hand, this is a card that lets you search your library for 4 cards with different names and reveal them. Target opponent puts 2 of those cards into your hand, and then the other 2 into the graveyard. So what are you getting with the Gifts Ungiven? I think the answer is your Underworld Breach just got that more powerful. Underworld Breach, Underworld B. So you got this. You got the Underworld Breach, which gives each non-land card in your graveyard escape. Escape cost equal to its mana cost. You grab the Lion's Eye Diamond, and then you grab Savine's Reclamation. So you grab Savini's Reclamation. So the Savini's Reclamation gets a permanent with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So then it doesn't matter, and if you had the flashback and 5 mana, you can pay the flashback cost. So that's just 3 cards. So if you grab the Breach, the Lion's Eye Diamond, the Savini's Reclamation, and the Brain Freeze, now you've basically, for 1 card, you've set up your entire Breach combo, and you put it online. That's why the Gifts Ungiven is so good and people want to play it. Being unbanned, this thing is going to make Underworld Breach even more popular. I can't imagine that the Savine's Reclamation is going to go down in price. We do keep seeing the Lion's Eye Diamond also making its way up on the price chart. Maybe more so than the Mox Diamond. I would say the Lion's Eye Diamond will eventually go north of $1,000. Is the Lion's Eye Diamond, is it a game changer? It is. Is it game changer? Ça change les jeux. All right. So Rog Thras also making headlines with the Candelabra of Tano. So that's a winner this week. If you ask me, it's up 12%. Gifts Ungiven's points debate is poised to make a big splash in competitive Commander. It's now that it's legal again. The Underworld Breach decks are currently going to be the best deck in the format, and Gifts is going to be a guaranteed setup to win. Make up your win attempt between the namesake card and Savini's Reclamation. That and the Lion's Eye Diamond, maybe Brain Freeze, are going to set up your Breach combo. As alluded to previously, the Gifts Ungiven is one of the unbanned Commander cards that may have an impact on the format. With this in mind, a little wonderful that this card is going to see its biggest price spikes in recent days. Depending on the variant, the condition that you're looking at, some of the prices are obscene. Lightly played copies of the Double Master 2022, for example, are selling up over 2,000%. Here's a chart. Overall, while the individual spikes of various variants may vary, and be very, very good. The prices of all these copies of Gifts Ungiven remains fairly stable, and at the moment, you'll have to pay around $15 for a near mint copy. But the worst condition ones going for slightly less, and surprisingly, foil variants are typically a lot more expensive. A near mint from the vault exile cards going for $64. I checked my bulk. I also looked at my buy list history. I checked my bulk. I got 3 copies. So Brody's doing okay. The foil double masters. Let's see the gifts. I was lucky enough to I didn't I thought this card was never going to get played, and then I think I traded 2 or 3 of them in last year for 80 cents, a dollar. So Brody is not always right. Sometimes Brody, Brody does a bad one. The Modern Masters foil, this one's $50. I can't believe it. $5 to $50. I think I traded one of these in, at least one. I think I traded one of these in for 80 cents last year. So that's a good one. I'm glad I have it. I think it's now $20 bill. So the vendor stores are selling it for $20. I'm gonna have to find a way to include that into the latest deck. The signature bell book version is also desirable because it's arguably got the best art on it, and art is a lot. Art means a lot. Coalition victory in the unbanning of gifts and givens. Bray's Cabal minion took a lot of players by surprise, and everyone saw Coalition victory coming for better or worse. This card's not very good. 8 mana for the game-ending spell that requires a serious setup. It's nothing new in Magic the Gathering, and most infinite combos in Commander are cheaper and easier to activate after all. Despite this, Magic the Gathering players are nonetheless keen to get their hands on a copy of Coalition Victory. With just a few dual lands and a 5-color Commander in play, the Coalition is an instant win. After all, over the past few days, hundreds of copies of Coalition Victory have been sold, resulting in another impressive game. I would say the 5-color Omnath or maybe Kenrith the Return King or Commander choices to play this, climbing from $2 back in February, $21 today. The time-shifted version, I know I have a version of the Coalition Victory somewhere. I thought it would never see the light of day. I can't see it getting too much traction, but it could be one of those out of nowhere win conditions that might start seeing play. It'll only time will tell. The Panoptic Mirror, right? Much like the Coalition Victory, the Panoptic Mirror is another potentially game-ending card that gets a lot of energy, costs a lot to get it going, and if you imprint a card like Temporal Manipulation or Time Walk or Time Warp onto it, you get infinite turns, and essentially it guarantees the win. As you might expect, there are tons of high-powered Panoptic Mirror combos that deal with insane amounts of damage or instantly win you the game, and despite its strength, the Mirror is nearly a powerhouse that it used to be. It's not as strong. Old great dame, she ain't what she used to be. No way used to be. She's still abusing me. Okay, the old Mirror ain't what she used to be. Even with its tempered strength, Panoptic Mirror is evidently a little more popular since it's been unbanned. The card's one variant from Darksteel has seen massive spike in price, and near mint copies are spiking over 457%, climbing to $9 from $3. It's currently making it the most expensive recently unbanned in Commander. Sway the Stars. Like, here we go, right? Last but not least, we have Sway the Stars, which also only has one printing. Originally released in Betrayers of Kamigawa, this card used to sell for $3.42. Now it's $22 post-unban. Like many of the recent unbanned cards, Sway the Stars has the potential to completely upend a game Commander. It's 10 mana. You should be upending a game of Commander at 10 mana. Each player shuffles his hand, graveyard, and all the permanents they own into their library, and then draws 7 cards. Each player life total becomes 7. It's 10 mana. Like, if you're not changing the game for 10 mana, I don't know what you're doing. Like, that's why you don't get it. Crater Hoop Behemoth is, it could be a game changer. It's 8 mana. It's a lot of mana. But again, this one too is 10. All right, 10 mana. By essentially resetting the board, this thing can slow the game down to a grinding halt, but then you have to deal 7 damage to try and close out the game. And libraries, having fresh libraries and reduced life totals of making Sway the Stars a big reset button, it's arguable that this is not just another Shahrazad type of effect. If you're playing the right aggressive focus deck that can put you in an easy position to win, for everyone else it can be an incredibly unfun experience that wipes your progress. Despite this potential poorer play patterns, Wizards decided to Sway the Stars in a safe unban due to its mana cost at 10, and you'd expect to have this much devastating impact on the board, basically, as Wizards mentions. Stronger cards like World Fire are cheaper than Sway the Stars, and that card isn't getting inherently problematic. We're looking ahead, the Mirror and Gifts being going unbanned could have some long-term demand propping up their price in particular. I would say wait for a restock if you don't have copies of the Gifts Ungiven. It's probably going to get another restock and a reprint, and there's lots of copies going around in circulation, but people are going to try and offload them to get themselves some good trade-in value. All right, at the end of the day, we sadly can't predict the future, so as always, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens in the coming weeks and months. Coming weeks and months. Weeks and months and boots and hats. All right. Yes. So we're talking about cars that were unbanned in Commander and the price that it is going to follow. The Gifts Ungiven making its way up the chart. The Sway of the Stars is going to probably see an uptick. Braids Cabal Minion is the one that a lot of people are excited to play. Get back on the Braids train in Commander. Or the Mono Black Commander, Coalition Victory, Panoptic Mirror. Which ones do you think are going to see the most play? All right. That's it for me today. I got to run. Brody's got some stuff to do. Thank you for choosing the Morning Magic the Gathering stock show and talk show where we talk prices of magic cards. We're talking unbannings. We're talking game changers. We're talking rules, committee, updates. It's been a good one. All right. Super fast. TCG Dude, the Millmaster Benson. Thanks for sticking with me. I think I got the audio going. Maybe I can tweak it a little bit more. Brody's back.